AMC today was up nearly 25%. I'll explain some key levels to keep your eyes out for this week, but before we get into that, there is the closing bell, guys. And today you can see the S&Ps are up 25 points. However, it was the Nasdaq today that led our indexes higher, up over 1.17%. We see the Russell 2000 that's up 30 basis points, as well as the Dow that's about in line with the S&P 500. So where do we stand on the week? And when we take a look at the SPX, we were coming into this week expecting 75 points. 75 points up would take us to around 4,017, and 75 down would take us to 3,868. Seeing a nice boost, 25 points today. We're about 1/3 the way there to hitting the upper edge on the week. Now, when we take a look at it from a future standpoint, today you can see the futures putting in a new all-time high with some big volume backing it up. However, that's a lot of volume coming from March contracts rolling into this new June contract. You'll notice that in a lot of these indices today. Taking a look at the Nasdaq, you can see Nasdaq volume's kind of light. However, it was leading the day, up 1.25% right now at 13,086. Taking a look at the Russell 2000, notice that volume in the roll into the June contract, with the Russell putting in a new all-time high. Taking a look at the Dow, it too has put in a fresh all-time high. However, when we take a look at these intraday, notice the surge in the final minutes. We had struggle. We flipped around lunchtime at 11:30. See that in the Russell, struggling, but it's getting things going here in the final minutes. As for the Nasdaq intraday, that 11:30 was the switch in today's session. Even in the S&P, you can see we low, and we're just surging in these final minutes of trade. So we see our indices seeing a nice boost in the final minutes of today's session. When we take a look at some of our sectors, we take a look at the XLK. Technology today led the way, up over 1%. You see the industrials right behind it, up 0.84%, putting in a new all-time high. You see healthcare up 0.69, consumer staples up 0.44. However, it was our energy stocks that were our worst performer, down 1.14% on the day. The financials were right behind it, down about 0.5%. But notice intraday, it's seeing a nice spike into the final minutes of trade. I want to point out the Big Five today was up 0.03%. So the Big Five was nearly flat on the day. This was red. And for those wondering, it consists of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Facebook, and it's combined. So this index was flat on the day, which lagged our Nasdaq being up as much as it was. Just taking another look from these sectors, you see technology leading the way. However, you see the discrepancy in the Big Five. However, with the financials and the energy lagging, it was up to some support from industrials, healthcare, consumer staples. Even software stocks were up, which meant our indices were leaning to the upside. However, the Russell was a lagger, and that was due to the financials. So with stocks today in the green, how did the bonds break down? And taking a look at these 30-year bonds, we're seeing they're up 0.5%. After getting whacked in Friday's tape, the bonds are trying to bounce back. As for our 10-year yield, we take a look at the 10-year treasury. It's down 1.7% on the day, however, sitting at a 1.6% yield. So with the yield cooling off, we saw some of the technology stocks bouncing back today. Even software stocks were in the green. It was our Big Five, however, that failed to follow suit. Now over at the VIX, we take a look at these futures. They're down almost 8%. However, this is the March contract. Just seeing it rolls here in 2 days into that April contract, meaning we can't get any read off of these futures. So we take a look at the VVIX, and the VVIX today is down 1.3%. Taking a look at it intraday, it tried to rally into the final minutes, just seeing right there. However, we're slightly above that 110 line, which has played a relatively pivot in the past about 9 months or so. Let's cruise over to the dollar index, see how the commodities broke down, and see what's going on in Bitcoin. Taking a look at this dollar index, it's up 12 basis points on the day and going nowhere for the most part. How did it break our commodities down? Well, taking a look at crude oil, crude today was down 34 basis points. However, for the most part, crude oil is hovering the mid-60s. I've already noticed regular glass is almost $3 for me. And as for gold, taking a look at the precious metal, it's up about 0.5%, with the dollar relatively quiet today. Gold seeing a slight bid underneath, for the most part holding the low 1700s, sitting at 1729 right now. And as for Bitcoin, we take a look at Bitcoin. It broke 61,500 this weekend. You can see these futures opened up, how they traded out the gates, went sideways, and ultimately fell off a cliff, catching support around 55,000. We've been going sideways since. Nothing else I can say here, but whenever you see Bitcoin down over 5%, consider those great buying opportunities for the long run. There you have it for the stock market breakdown. Now, today was a relatively quiet day outside the final power hour. I don't expect much in tomorrow's tape. However, Wednesday, we are going to hear from the Federal Reserve, which could potentially be market moving. If the Fed decides to throw a curveball, watch out, because these indices and the bonds could get crazy. But coming into this week with just 74 points, don't expect much of a move across our board. But enough in the macro, let's take a look at a trending ticker today, and that was AMC. Today, AMC was up over 25%, with a market cap of $4.7 billion. On a year to date, AMC is up close to 600%. So AMC seeing a surge in volume in today's tape. We take a look at it intraday, it was trend day up. What's going on in this stock? Well, it's soaring off the news. The company announced it plans to open nearly all of its California locations on March 19th. Just seeing this intraday, notice the trend day up. However, it does have an implied volatility of 230%. So for that, let's take a look where the options market priced this stock in this week. So we go over to the expected move. And coming into this week, AMC's options were expecting $2.16. You can see that upper edge was around $13.32, which were slightly above that. Could we potentially see a 2 standard deviation move on the week? And for that, I'll draw in some lines, as well as some Fibonacci's. Taking a look closer, you can see a 1.5 standard deviation was going to be around 1435. We saw rejection right near that in today's tape. If AMC wants to get going this week, look for a 2 sigma at 1548. Also worth noting, this 38% Fibonacci is actually our upper edge on the week. I want to show you that from the expected move tab, and you can just see this 38% Fibonacci at 1331 plays that upper edge. And what plays our lower edge? Well, the 61% plays our lower edge, and that's at around $9. But for the most part, it seems AMC is trending up in this week's session. Just keep your eyes out on some of these levels around 1330 up to 1548, as well as the 23% fib at 1601. There you have it for the trending ticker AMC. Where do you see AMC going this week? I drew some Fibonacci's, as well as where the options market is pricing in this move. Think it continue to run? Does it roll over? Are you watching any other stocks? Comment them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys are trading. And if you watch this far, I really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. It means a lot when you guys show some support. And if you're watching me for the first time, I do these every single day. Show some love and hit that subscribe button. It'll mean a lot to me if you guys can do that. But any comments, questions, concern, leave it down below. I'd love to hear from you. But on that note, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great night. Take care. Peace.